Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Golden Astrologer Podcast. Today is Sunday, April 21st in the year 2024, and this is Deb McBride, and I am broadcasting my podcast from lovely Escazú, Costa Rica, and lots to talk about coming up this week, lots to talk about. Did you hear that? That was a mango falling on my roof. If you've been following me on Instagram, you will know that the mango tree outside my door, and I think I mentioned this last week, has produced an abundance of mangoes. Well, if it ain't Jupiter and Taurus. And it is, I've lived here 7 years and never have I seen this tree produce mangoes like it has now. And it's so incredible. You can go look at my Instagram and you will see how Mother Nature is inherently abundant. And you will see this photograph that I took of all the mangoes I've collected. And I think these are just the last couple days where I have like about 4 bowls full of mangoes. And then while that was going on, I had a bowl with water and cleaning them with my ozone machine to kill off bacteria and parasites and things. But this is what happens. You heard that thud. I'm glad you heard it firsthand, because that is what it sounds like when a mango falls off the tree and hits the roof or hits the ground. That's probably the roof. But we are so fortunate and we are so abundant right now because Mother Nature is giving us this incredible gift of these gorgeous, orangey, sweet, succulent, juicy fruit. And it is amazing. And I've made mango ice cream, and I'm giving the mangoes away to people, share the abundance, giving them away to people, and, cleaning them up and cutting them up and peeling them and putting the pulp in a plastic bag and freezing it. And some I'm keeping for juice, some I'm, making recipes with it. It's an incredible gift. It's an incredible gift of nature, but that's what it sounds like when a mango falls. And sometimes it happens in the middle of the night. Sometimes it happens first thing in the morning, but often I open the door and there's mangoes waiting for me right outside my door. So I have to, pick them up and all. And the raccoons, the mapaches, they come and they take them in the middle of the night and they chew them up. And then we have those two, the chewed up mangoes that I put in the compost. So yes, it has been an amazing Jupiter and Taurus experience. Nature is ruled by Taurus. And so nature, and Virgo and Capricorn to a degree too. But when I think of nature and the fruits and the abundance and the flowers blooming and on one level, Virgo is the harvest, right? But here we are, and I'm experiencing an incredible harvest of mangoes. And right now in here, they are blooming in April. So this is what we receive. So it's a beautiful thing. I do want to talk about a mailing I put out last night. If you're not on my mailing list, then I suggest you join my mailing list. Go to my website, thegoldenastrologer.com, and a little box will pop up, and you can just join the mailing list in the little pop-up box that comes up when you go to the website. And I sent out a mailing about Jupiter and Uranus, which we're going to talk about, but also about my masterclass that I'm giving on Wednesday, May 8th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It is called Alchemy, and it's going to be the first in a series that I'm going to do of alchemy presentations. Now, it's going to have a lot going on, and I'm going to do this once a month, and I invite you to join me. So you can join for this one masterclass. It's $97 investment, and I sent out the link on my mailing. But you can join as part of a membership every month, and you get a discount for 6 months. So what I'm going to be doing is going to be an energetic training, an astrology update, energetic activations, where I'm going to take the group through some exercises that are going to help you clear old beliefs, create neurological shifts, embody a new energy, reclaim your power. And what my goal is for people is that they will join as a membership and compound these experiences month by month so that they can keep clearing things that could be obstacles and opening up to expansion in their lives. Now, why I'm giving this, I would love to show people what I do when I do expansion mentoring. And these monthly tastes of what I do are great for a group setting, and we'll go through different things every month that I'm going to help people with. I'll lecture on something new every month so that we can gain knowledge and really clear some old beliefs out and do some really great work. But I want people to understand that so much more is available to them if they work with me in expansion mentoring. So my alchemy masterclass is going to be Wednesday, May 8th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's $97, like I mentioned. And please, write to me, info@goldenastrologer.com, deb@debmcbride.com. I'll be putting it on Instagram so you could join, and I would love to see you there. Join me, please. It would be so much fun. In the meantime, we are having the Jupiter Uranus, and it happened yesterday. It was kind of late in my region of the world, and it was 10:27 p.m. Eastern time, so it was 8:27 p.m. my time, but it was happening today, the 21st, for people on the other side of the planet, and it's been an interesting energy, and I'll describe what I have felt so that you understand a little better. When planets, such as Uranus, outer planets, get together with Jupiter, their energetics get expanded. And Jupiter is generally an expansive energy. It's an expansive experience. It's an expansive archetype. And when we talk about expansion, and I just talked about expansion mentoring, expansion is about where we can step up and get out of what is comfortable for us. So what we're used to is not expansion. What we're used to is our comfort zone, and what we're used to is our experience of our everyday life, and then you expand. Say, for example, you have a house, and then you and your family buy a bigger house, and at first it seems so huge and it seems a little uncomfortable, and then once you start to fill it with your stuff from your old house, you see that it's very comfortable and it's more spacious, but it gives you sort of the up level of the house. You have a bigger bedroom. You have more space in your kitchen. You have a bigger garage, a nicer dining room. Maybe you didn't have a dining room before. This is obviously expansion. I've got a bigger dining room. I've got a bigger bedroom, etc. And then it feels unusual at first and a little uncomfortable, but then, of course, you're going to fill it up and get used to it, and it's a really great feeling when you have expanded and opened your world. When we think about expansion, especially in Taurus, especially with Jupiter, we start thinking about my wallet, my bank account, and I said this on Instagram and in my mailing yesterday, and it isn't always exactly that, especially if you're not having this Uranus Jupiter in your money house. It's in a house such as the 12th house, which is asking you to, expand your knowledge of spirit and intuition and, faith, trust, and belief. And so what Jupiter and Uranus do is they open the door. And whenever you have a transit with an outer planet and Jupiter or Saturn or something, it's going to be a big deal because they don't get together very often. So this is once in 14 years, like I talked about last week. And then as far as the sign goes, once in, 84 years and 83 years, 84 years. And what we're doing is we're opening a door in that region of our astrological chart. Each person has a different chart. So for me, it was my 10th house. The last time this happened, it was the 8th house. 14 years ago, for me, it was the 8th house. And that was when my partner passed away. So for me, that was a very profound moment of transformation. Yes, 8th house, but also death. I lost a very dear soul, someone who was very dear to me in my life. And then, what was the aftermath of that? Learning about those kinds of things more than I had already known, because I had a bunch of deaths happen at that time. But the experience of the eighth house and the transforming in my life of all of that, well, then that opened the door to another level of new life, or maybe the ending of an old life, which it was. So when we start to look at the door that's been opened, it doesn't necessarily happen this weekend, right? There's a process of the door opening. When I had this transit in my sixth house back in early 1997, this was something about like starting work in a different way. And within 6 months or so, I started studying with Michael Luton, which led my astrology work to go deeper and more expansive and more profound and more enjoyable in those years. So, but it didn't happen the weekend of the aspect. So these aspects are with us for a long time, and they are a marking place in the zodiac. So 21 degrees of Taurus is now a famous point. My experience of Saturn-Pluto 4 years ago, our experience of Saturn-Pluto was a 22 degrees of Capricorn, and it happened in early January of 2020. And no, if you remember, nothing really happened. Well, for me, I saw a UFO a couple days later, but that's beside the point. Not much really happened that weekend for people. There was an eclipse. So it was getting revved up. All the juices were cooking in the pot, and something was happening. And that weekend was like, okay, not a big deal. And then it all happened in the next month and a half, right? And then it was with us for a really long time, right? Okay. So when this marking point happens in the zodiac, we take note of it. We take notice of what may be stirring and brewing in our own lives, and we adapt to the expansion, like my analogy of moving into another house that's bigger. We adapt to the expansion. Taurus does not want to budge. I love Tauruses. I have many Tauruses in my life. They have such lovely energy, and they're lovely people. They are not people who want things to change dramatically. Uranus is a planet that wants things to change dramatically. So what it means for that area of the zodiac is that we have to look at the area where we may want to stay in that comfort zone, where it's cozy and we have our cup of cocoa and cookies and our nice warm blanket, and we can sit and cozy and watch our, favorite movies or gardening shows because it's Taurus, right? And what's happening really is that area is being shaken up, and all the cobwebs are shaken out, and we are being told to get out and get uncomfortable and feel the discomfort and keep going anyway. And know that our moving through the discomfort is something that is necessary in this moment, okay? When I think back to all the Jupiter Uranuses that I have experienced in my life, there was the aspect, and then there was the passage of time, and before things started to get revved up and things moved forward in a very obvious way. So, for example, in 1997, that was not a good time. When it happened, I was going through something. I went through a bad breakup, and it was not comfortable. It was really, it was kind of ugly. And it was not a good time in my life. And I just kept moving forward. What could I do? I was healing myself. I was working with myself. I was doing good things for myself. I had moved into my new apartment, which was great because I lived in that apartment until I left Brooklyn in 2017. And I was there for like 20 years, over 20 years. And there I was in this not feeling good about myself and what happened in the aftermath of the breakup. And it was, Jupiter, Uranus. What the hell did it mean to me? It was in my sign, on my sun, in fact. And so I was expecting something greater and bigger, but it didn't, and it came, but it didn't come that moment. It came 6-7 months later when I started to really work with Michael Luton. And I know that swung open a big door, a big, huge door in my work life, because it was in my sixth house and it was on my son. So, guys, just be with it right now. Even if you are in discomfort, as I was in 1997, and I'm in some discomfort now as well, we all have some discomfort around this. Stay the course, stay with it. Taurus is steady. There's nobody more loyal and steadfast than Taurus. They are going to be there. They are going to be there for decades. They don't leave. Stay. Focus on what's next. Keep moving. Because when you stick to it with Taurus, that's when you receive things. That's when you achieve things. That's why, Tauruses always know that no matter what, they're going to stick it out and it's going to work out. What Jupiter and Uranus has in store for us is going to come as we experience these next months. Okay? Yeah, Jupiter will move on. Jupiter will move into Gemini in a few months, and it will get past all of this, and you're like, well, that's over. What happened? Yeah, it's just not coming in this moment. Remember, Saturn, Pluto, things came later, and boy, oh boy, was that a huge, huge impact on the world, which Saturn, Pluto always is. This is an impact on the world as well. Look at your own history. Look at 14 years ago. Look at 2010, 2011. Look at 1997. Look at what happened before that, 1983. And see what happened after that. What phase of your life did you go into? So we're now entering a new phase of our lives, a new chapter, and this is exciting. So get excited about it. Get excited that the Taurus area of your chart, where you thought, okay, I've just sort of accepted that things are going to be the way they've always been, is not. It's getting shaken up, and it's getting really juicy. Okay? It's getting really juicy. This is something that we want to explore more, and we want to embrace more. So look at the areas that you may feel you don't want to change, but it's necessary for them to change because it's going to enhance your life. Look at the areas that speak to you about where there is fertility in your life, where there's very fertile soil, and you are planting seeds. That's what Jupiter and Uranus are doing. They're planting a big seed. And guess what? The mango tree is blooming and it's full of fruit. So I take this, as a sign from Mother Nature that big abundant things are coming to me. So, okay, meantime, I spoke last week that Venus and Chiron were going to meet today, and they met this morning, 7:49 a.m. Eastern Time, and that was definitely a profound moment. Venus is now passed over the eclipse point. Maybe you felt some of the energy of the eclipse come back, okay? I have to say, Mercury going over the eclipse point, again, Mercury retrograde, that was between Monday and Tuesday, this past week. And then Venus again, yes, I definitely felt irritations that I felt during the eclipses. I felt them come back. This was more the Aries eclipse, but I definitely felt those irritations come back, and hurts, things that happened, like, aside from the Uber incident, I have to say that there were other things that I had to work through and that I have continued to work through. So Venus was working through that with us today. And the sun is squaring Pluto. So we know that the seeds of transformation and the seeds of vitality and the seeds of expansion, very excited, have been planted. And so now we're going to watch our very fertile soil come forward and produce something amazing for us, right? I think all of this is amazing that it's right by Earth Day. How about that? Earth Day is tomorrow, the 22nd, and that is really some powerful, significant Mother Nature energy. So happy Earth Day, everybody. I hope your soil is fertile and abundant, and you are growing by leaps and bounds. Then Tuesday is a very important full moon. So this is the moon in Scorpio, and the moon will enter Scorpio 11:20 a.m. on April 23rd, Tuesday. And that moon will oppose the sun at 7:49 p.m. Eastern Time. And this is a big, important full moon because this is the lunation that kicks out the eclipses. So the eclipse is just about 2 weeks ago, which I can't believe it. April is flying. And that eclipse, the energies of the eclipse were kicking it out of the whole season. Both eclipses, March 25th, April 8th. We're going to kiss them goodbye with the Scorpio full moon. It's an interesting thing because that Scorpio moon, which is going to go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and change signs. What it's going to do on Thursday, it's going to oppose the Jupiter Uranus. And that's going to be very early in the morning Eastern Time. Uranus first, 6:26 a.m., and then Jupiter, 7:55 a.m., that the moon will be opposing these things. And then at 8:54 a.m., Mercury will go direct. So this is a pretty big week. It's big because we are closing the door on this eclipse period, finally, okay? I think there were a lot of emotions, and a Scorpio full moon to close the door means that there probably will be more emotions, as Scorpio is a water sign. As you have heard me say, the moon is exalted in Taurus, therefore the moon in Scorpio is not the moon's favored place. And it is definitely going to raise some darker, deeper, unseen, up until now, emotions. Because that's what Scorpio does. That's Scorpio's favorite thing to do. Go into the darkness and pull it out. So I do think that we are going to have some tidal waves of emotions over these next days. And I think we should all be prepared for that. We should be aware of how we're feeling. Did something come to conclusion that you were grappling with during the eclipse period? Did something rear its head again that you have to grapple with once more, even though you were grappling with it during the eclipse period? So what is it that the Scorpio full moon is bringing for you? Is it bringing you more information about the eclipse? Or is it bringing you something that is saying, okay, I'm done and I feel really good. I feel really good. I'm so glad I went through that. I worked it out. You know, there's sometimes unattractive emotions around a Scorpio full moon. And here we are having to work with that energy as we are saying goodbye to the eclipses. So there may be one last eclipse hurrah or eclipse hangover as we are processing what is, the emotion of how we may be transformed. Remember, Scorpio is about transformation as well. What are we transforming? What did we transform? Did you get over like your grudge? Did you get over holding on to stuff and boy, oh boy, does Scorpio love to hold on to emotions. Are you still holding on to something? Let it go. Yeah, right, Deb. Easier said than done during a Scorpio full moon. Let it go. Well, when that Scorpio moon comes around to, Uranus and Jupiter on Thursday the 25th, as Mercury goes direct, I expect there to be more information coming forward for each and every one of us. Don't close yourself off to emotions either. Let them come. Let them come and let them go. Let them pass through you. Work with them if you need to. Allow yourself to be shown what all of this April has been about for you. Now, let's not ignore that you already know some things from April, but remember when we were going into April, I'm like, we've got a rockin' April this year. April's rocking. It's not finished yet, and some of this is only the beginning. Jupiter and Uranus are only the beginning, okay? So adjust to this energy and then move forward accordingly. Move forward with it one step at a time. Remember, Taurus is methodical, so move one step at a time. But you learned something, you gained something, you've realized something. There were moments of emotions. Maybe they weren't comfortable. Maybe they were painful. Maybe they were sad. Maybe this Jupiter-Uranus reminded you of something. this was, I think, a very deep eclipse period. I feel like it really spoke volumes to me anyway on a very emotional level. I saw lots of changes around me, some unexpected events, but this week is sort of the culmination of a lot of this because this Scorpio moon is going to come. It's going to be full and end the eclipse session. All these eclipse energy, we're going to kiss it goodbye this week, and then that Scorpio moon is going to oppose the Jupiter Uranus, and it's sort of tying together all of April. So this bright Scorpio full moon is going to tie together the eclipses, the Jupiter Uranus, and hopefully emotionally help us make sense of a lot of what we've been processing this month. And it's not over. It's not over, guys. Jupiter and Uranus are coming. They're going to be together for a long time. That energy is coming towards us. It's not, you're like, Deb, it already happened. It happened, yes, but it's there. I looked at a month from now. I was looking at my AstroGold program, and they're still going to be within a few degrees of each other a month from now in May. So they're still talking to one another, and then we're going to have the aftermath of all of this. What comes next? What comes next, and what has this awakened? What seeds have we planted? So really, really, this is only the beginning. Something's been ignited, something's been planted, and we are opening doors to new and exciting chapters in our lives. So this is so very important. Mercury goes direct on Thursday, 8:54 a.m. Eastern Time. And so finally, Mercury will be direct after this almost the entire month of retrograde. And I don't like to push time. I like to experience everything one day at a time. But, thankfully, this Mercury retrograde is over. It's ending. And Mercury's going to start stopping in the sky in Aries. And this experience is another thing for us to reflect upon as we move through this week. So you're going to find out three things. One, what did the Mercury retrograde mean for you? What did you solve or view or dig up during this Mercury retrograde? Okay. What did the eclipses give you or take away from you or show you? What emotions came up? Okay. What did Jupiter and Uranus trigger in you? What door is opening? Where are new things starting to blossom and bloom? Where do these things, all connect with similar themes in your life? How are they all related? What is the theme that's going on for you right now? That's a nice little homework assignment, folks. Okay, everybody sit down, think of these three main things that happened in April. How are they all related for you? What did they bring up? Sit down and journal about it. This is a great journaling prompt. What are the emotions, the experiences, the events that these three components of April astrology brought up for you? How did you handle it? How did you feel during it? What did you resolve? How did you come away from it? Such fascinating information and such a fascinating month. So this is the week when we get to explore all of that and get deep with it. And Scorpio moon wants us to get deep, right? Scorpio moon wants us to get deep. So it's going to be a deep moment this week, and we're going to pass through it, and we're going to come out refreshed, transformed, excited for the next chapter. And if you are interested in having a session with me and would like more information about your astrological chart, I invite you to join me. Just go to my website, thegoldenastrologer.com, click book online, and you can choose your session. I also do 5D Lemurian Reiki, which is really beautiful and really brings a sense of healing and peace. And we also clear out old stuff with that, so I invite you to do that. And of course, there's expansion mentoring, and my alchemy course is going to be a prelude to that. So if you're even curious about expansion mentoring, join me for the alchemy course in May. And you can really feel into some of the things we'll be doing as you are a mentee in expansion mentoring. As you'll get a taste of everything, and you'll know whether you like it, whether it works for you, whether you're excited about it, or maybe you just want to stay in the membership and just experience it once a month a little bit. And certainly, if you want to do expansion mentoring, then just, contact me and we can start work. Thank you so much for listening. It's an exciting week ahead with new information about all we've experienced in April. And I am grateful for all of you for listening. And stay in touch. I'll be on Instagram, The Golden Astrologer. I'm on Facebook, The Golden Astrologer. And I will see you on the other side of this week next Sunday. Blessings to all. Thank you for listening.